Mr. Ladipo Johnson joins us now. He's also a lawyer. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning.
How do you see this argument? Straightforward or what?
It's not so straightforward. It's a difficult one, very difficult. Most people would seem to have aligned now with the Supreme Court, but I think we had more, before the judgment was delivered, I think there were more people who felt that the governors should have been left in office. But unfortunately, one hasn't seen the complete text of the judgment of the Supreme Court. But it is clear that the overriding factor, as it were, is the fact that they do not want a situation where anyone would be governor for over 8 years in totality. But there are many issues relating to it. It's the final court, yes. I think the National Assembly may now step in because it's shown us that we have there's a lacuna in the Constitution, or various ones. So the National Assembly ought to step in, rather.
In terms of what, amendments?
Yes, in terms of amendments to the Constitution. We've reached a stage...
Maybe you state the lacuna in the Constitution?
Well, exactly what they've been dealing with. We've reached a stage where we have seen now that the Constitution did not provide for, did not take into effect or cognizance the fact that there could be an individual who would be governor for 3 years, then have a rerun, and then win again, you understand, and then come back after that 4 years, if that judgment hadn't come in, and then have another election, his second term, as it were. So that is one of the things that they have to look at.
But the Constitution has already been amended.
For that particular clause?
Yes. But in this case, I said it couldn't have a retroactive effect and everything. But and then the Electoral Act as well. You have to look at your laws constantly and learn from situations that have occurred, and then move on from there. So I think it's been a learning curve for us as a country, and the last speaker said something very pertinent, and that's the fact that there's a possibility that we'll still have litigation due to the various situations in some of the states affected.
But does this judgment, now that it has invalidated the decisions of the High Court and Appeal Court, what about the actions of INEC? Because if there are so many things that happen predicating it on those actions of INEC, subsequent courts also, can it be argued then that, well, if this were the case, it means that all those actions that they had taken prior to this time can be said to be null and void?
Well, INEC will say that they appealed. You know, Buba Marwa joined at the Supreme Court. INEC will claim that at that stage there was a federal high court judgment, and they went along with the law as at that time. Then there was a court of appeal as well. But now there's a Supreme Court, which INEC was the appellant there and everything. So, unfortunately for us, I think that a lot of things will be left to INEC again with this decision. Especially, I think you were discussing the issue in Kogi State, and things like that.
The PDP made a statement at that time. Where do we predicate that from the point of law? Saying that the Speaker get back to the National State House of Assembly, then the Captain Wada step forward. How?
Yeah, that is not that's not proper. One has to say that, and that is the part of the problems you get where you have one party controlling an entire state and what have you. It's the same problem everywhere, and they do not. At times, you do not know where to distinguish between the policies of the party and the law.
You know, some say if INEC hadn't gone to court now, we wouldn't have even seen what we're seeing today. So was it a wise decision for INEC to have gone this whole...
Yes, it's historical. Whether it is wise or not...
because they were actually criticized at the start of this whole case,
yes.
asking what's your business in all of this. But again, what we're getting now, is it fine for our democracy?
It is. It is. It is. It is, depending on which side of the aisle you are on. But basically, it takes us a step forward. We have to think more, a bit more about things and about the situation. And then people would be, I hope, more cautious when they're taking political decisions in the future.
What? Sorry.
Yeah.
What possible cases of litigation do you see coming up, especially in Kogi and Bayelsa?
In Bayelsa, it will be to the governor would say they had the primaries, and he was duly elected at that time. It seems the party hierarchy would rather have Dixon. There again, Dixon will say that he was in court, and the court has said that INEC should include his name. Then in Kogi as well, you'll have, slightly different, but you'll have, I think it's a Chocho.
A Chocho, yes.
Yes.
Before Captain Wada's.
He's still waiting in the wings to say that I should have been the candidate of the PDP. You understand? And then whether or not INEC would recognize the election, not recognize, would stand by the election they just held not too long ago.
Look at this scenario.
Yeah.
Because if they're to conduct elections within 3 months,
yes.
Assuming without conceding that these other guys can latch on to the first primaries they held at that time, Silva Chocho saying, look, we are the guys here. Yeah. Would it be right, or what do you see happening if the party says, okay, within 45 days, I say, well, all right, we'll accept both of you. And then, because the Electoral Act also talks about cogent and verifiable reason why you can kick such a person out and say you're not a candidate anymore. Because do they still have that window, that time, or that luxury to do or change their candidate within these 3 months? Because if they accept them for a period of time and say, well, we'll still have 60 days to say, no, we don't want you anymore. Is that possible? Can parties consider that option and still be legally correct?
We're talking here basically about Bayelsa and Kogi. I think in both cases, the party can go on. The party, I think, is comfortable enough in both states to know that their internal affairs may not affect the overall take of the people in the state vis-a-vis the elections. So they may say that, yes, the 3 months enough, we want to change whoever it is. You understand what I'm saying? So I think so. I think the party can do that.
And they will still be within the legal framework to substitute their candidates within that period of time?
Yes, I think so. I think so, yes.
Well, that would be interesting.
What I'm saying is that, knowing the party, if they have the window, then they'll take it.
Are you scared for the party in Bayelsa specifically because the way it is going now, and they say it just might be an election without the PDP having a candidate?
No, I doubt that will happen.
What do you think will play it?
I believe that the decision of the court at the moment that states that Dixon's name should be included, I think the INEC will probably follow that decision. The Supreme Court's decision that we just had didn't delve into that at all. You understand? So it would be difficult. I don't think the INEC legal advisor will say to Professor Jega or the council that based on the Supreme, they should do this and that.
But again, you acknowledge that the particular primaries was predicated upon, should I say, the tenure or the space of the former Governor Silva.
Yeah.
So if actually the Supreme Court has actually annulled all of that process, doesn't it automatically also annul the primaries that were set leading up to this particular election?
Yeah, that is interpretation that is left to you and to me. You understand? And I'm saying that politically, looking at all the things tied to Bielsa, I'm not sure that they will go that far.
But in the case of Kogi State, for instance, there are those who suggest that perhaps he may just have a point because elections were conducted, consequent upon a decision by the court, which is no fault of those who went ahead and conducted that election.
Yeah.
Will he have a case, Captain Wada, if he takes an application to the court saying, listen, I've got a certificate of return here, what happens to it? Has it been nullified? Can he go and seek that interpretation?
He can if he sees that that INEC is trying to go the other way. You understand?
But do you see a political battle in the state?
It's a distinct possibility, yes. It is a distinct possibility.
What kind of powers?
Depending on what, you see, a lot of it depends on what INEC is going to do in the next few days.
Well, anyway, they say...
starting from today, maybe.
Starting from today,
yes.
But again, I wanted us to actually explore the powers of acting governors. Now we see loads and loads of them have been tinkering with the, should I say, appointees, moving some, taking some completely out, with the PDP saying, hey, come on, guys, the status should remain. So do they have the rights whatsoever to change and put
correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the Constitution puts any limits as to what
so in other words, they're as powerful as governors.
Yeah, he's acting governor.
So he's a governor.
He has to take the hard decision. I mean, if you're acting president and the country you need to defend the country, you bring out the armed forces. You don't say because you're acting you won't. And then, unfortunately, in most, politically speaking now, in most of these states, you'll find that the speaker was not always too friendly with the governor. So, chickens come home to roost, as it were. So,
well, maybe when we explore the political aspects of the whole judgment, we'll focus on that a little more. But then, there are those who also talk about intra-party matters, because once a candidate if his name has been submitted to INEC, it's no longer in the powers of the party to do certain things. So at that stage, if some of these candidates were to argue their case based on that, they will have a point, wouldn't they?
They would, except the party has a window and has the grounds to substitute, to change it.
Which is a tricky aspect of the whole thing.
But what would you advocate? Would you advocate fresh primaries, or would you say that INEC should rely on the primaries conducted before May 29?
It's a difficult one because we're all human beings, we're all political animals. Ordinarily, I mean, the question you asked Mr. Oloyede, who just left, as to the costs of elections in Kogi, for instance, if I were taking the decision, the costs in the current context of Nigeria, a la fuel subsidy, you understand? I mean, that would sway me, personally. It would sway me.
As what, as INEC?
Yes, if I were in the position of INEC.
But was the court mindful of all of this when they gave this judgment, do you think?
Probably not. Probably not. We haven't read the whole text, but I doubt if...
But some of the interpretations given for those who say they were bad, they say, look, it's just spelt out. Conduct elections within 3 months, fresh elections across board. No other interpretation there is to it.
That's one way to go about it.
Wow.
It's a safe way, or safer way, to go about it.
But when people actually see the full text of the judgment, you think it would change the arguments that people are putting up out there in terms of consequential order, in terms of who should do what?
Well, it will go a long way to help our interpretation. You understand? Then you can see the ratio, the reason why they came to the decision, or the decision they came to. You understand? In their wisdom.
Because one wonders, if the PDP gave out that statement, can we presuppose or assume that maybe they've seen the full text of the judgment before giving that kind of decision?
No, I don't think we should presuppose that, that the PDP has seen the...
They seem to fly in the face of reason.
No, I don't think so. I think in many ways, if you look at the decision, I mean, for the opposition, it's good that they will think it's a good decision, and that it's also good that the PDP is complaining about the situation. You understand? So I don't think that they would have had foreknowledge of the decision of the Supreme Court. I hope not.